The choice. If we are to become excellent gardeners, one must become familiar with the different gardening tools available and their applications. Since many things in life can be perceived as a tool, we might like to begin studying some different examples. The following image is a flow model for human decisions. All right, let's take a look. A flow model for human decisions. Okay, got it? Good. I would begin at the bottom describing the different parts of this model. The faculty of evaluation is our storehouse of information we acquire through experiences and studies. One can choose to invest in various educational systems in order to build a robust faculty of evaluation. Also, let's never overlook the potential to learn from others. With this in mind, we can seek opportunities for socializing and regard them as great opportunities to learn and adopt and add to our faculty of evaluation. Next, there is a sliding scale of decision making between two ends. One end would be the consideration to worship something, and the other end is the consideration to destroy something. Mostly all of our decisions fall somewhere in the middle of these two extremes. One can use the artful skill of consciousness and awareness to weigh various options relevant to us and the information stored in the faculty of evaluation. Once we have used this space to imagine our best case scenario we would like to have as our outcome, we enter into the sacred space of choice. The choice is meant to connect our vision with reality. There is there is a minimal list of things we can say are sacred, and choices could be considered to be one of these sacred designs. Think of the element of choice and how it was given to us by our creator and is something that is beyond the creator's control. In a sense, a wise creator may have been inclined to create a balanced system for life, and in order to do so, gave humans, it may even possibly trees and other life forms, the power to choose freely in their lives. This element of choice creates diversity and balance in our environment. Since it was an unknown variable to the creator, it may be that the system dependent on these choices is quite elegant. In other words, the creator may not know what choice we will make when it comes to certain decisions. However, certain things like the equilibrium of atoms, cosmos, and molecules is certain. Perhaps since laws of the universe and atoms are so certain and precise, it was an easy decision to make to give creation the power of choice. Once we enter the realm of choice, the act is performed. This model is a blueprint for the design of decision making and could be thought of as a useful tool to study and consider while moving about through life. In Book 2, we examine the element of choice, but also examine a list of principles, tools outlined here. Number one, every thought construct has a root emotion. Number two, love evolves love. Number three, the national treasure is people. Number four, creation follows relaxation. Number five, choices are sacred. Number six, your targets determine your character. Number seven, service to others is the best service to self. Number eight, the universe treats you how you treat yourself. Number nine, we don't see things as they are, we see things as we are. Number 10, appreciation is the closest thing to magic. Number 11, God is in the neutrons, protons, and electrons. Number 12, powerful things begin with love. Number 13, when we force things, we are sent lessons. When we relax into things, we are sent blessings. Number 14, participation toward God's creation is favored much more than isolationism and protectionism. Number 15, the sacred language of music. Number 16, if you love something, you are consistent. Number 17, nature is designed to convert weakness into growth. Number one, every thought construct has a root emotion. Please consider the following diagrams. Okay, see the diagrams? Please consider the following diagrams. The concept is simple. In our heads throughout the day, we engage in thoughts with our minds, and they are called thought constructs. There you go. Each thought construct has a root emotion. In the following diagram, one thought construct has the root emotion of love and the other has the root emotion of fear. Please consider the following diagrams. So it says, we deserve pure philosophy, and that's rooted in love. And then I must smoke cigarettes to avoid something, that's like rooted in fear. The previous examples are two thought constructs at opposite ends of a spectrum. As we continue to study the list of 17 principles previously outlined, we can consider each of them to be thought constructs hopefully rooted in love. This is the purpose of studying the decision-making model and becoming familiar with the art of consciousness and awareness. We want to give ourselves the time and patience to evaluate the thought constructs that form in our head and determine their root emotion. For beginning students, they may be able to identify thought constructs that are rooted in the emotion of anger, fear, and unbalanced desire. When a student observes a thought construct that is rooted in these suboptimal emotions, they can simply press the delete button in their mind and release that thought construct into deep space to be never seen or used again. Some may think, wait, I want to hold on to this fear-based thought construct. It may serve a purpose to protect me in the future. At this point, we consider the finer points of execution, and we are free to choose what we would like to use to enable and protect our fortune and wellness. As previously stated, a thorough conviction and support of a philanthropic mission will be all that is needed for grace and protection in our lives. Leaning toward and into the mission of charity is a defense mechanism all in itself, as it invokes the invisible forces of favor from the universe, a tool of God, as we participate in the flow of benevolence and goodwill toward all. An evolved perspective learns to quickly drop and delete thought constructs that are rooted in less evolved emotions like fear and anger. Love evolves love. Evolution may be perceived as a type of tool designed by God. Love is more of a choice or an action, and likely all choices, big or small, are sacred. The choice to look at nature, environments, and organizations with love is a sacred act. Benefiting from the effects of evolution can be viewed as a side effect or byproduct of life tuned to love. Making repeated choices to draw attention to the heart and repeat, I love you, will activate a system we can learn to enjoy and grow with. Like a two-way walkie-talkie to one God, a divine creation is revealed. We can take ourselves back to the time of Jesus and imagine the perspective of those listening to his teachings. In that time, it was not common perspective to see the human body in parts or to study the language of human anatomy. The common man of that time did not distinguish the heart, lungs, kidneys, liver, and intestines like the way we do now in the 21st century. In the time of Jesus, he was pointing to something inside of himself, the heart, and revealing to the people that God is within me. And maybe he should have said God is within us, or maybe he did, and that fact was hidden, or maybe there was whatever happened. But this was interpreted as something like, I think, like witchcraft to the people at the time, and they reacted with fear toward the unknown and destroyed him. And of course, it was God's plan as well to, we're all meant to say, anyway. So as the coral reef systems in our oceans verify the health and wellness of the water they live in, so we can use the heart to verify our actions. In the beginning, there was love. And Jesus was someone who tried to point us in this direction. Love evolves love. The act of perceiving with heart and love evolves the nature of existence. As we begin to contemplate possible truths such as this, we prepare ourselves to ascend from a world of nails and hammers and move to a place that sees the divine in all and is able to grow as nature intended toward unity and perfection. Does a hammer have God in it? I could say yes, God is present within all neutrons, protons, and electrons. However, we can contemplate the difference between God made tools and man made tools. A man made tool is a hammer and it has no choice. A God made tool is an arm, and yes, the arm has a choice. If one would like to do without this book and these principles, that would be fine. So as long as we put one God first and fill up the rest of the space with trust. In the meantime, Considering a proper order and design of our nature could be beneficial. If one were to ask me how to become a better lover, I would encourage them to learn the building blocks of existence. Commit to learn from everything, the mathematics and chemistry to edible plants and weather patterns. The knowledge and familiarity of our surroundings will make such things easier to understand and love. In this process, we become better lovers. Number three, the national treasure is people. We, the people of the United States and of the world, make the difference. A squirrel is a beautiful part of God's design. However, the faculty of choice, can we be certain this faculty of choice is as heavily weighted in the squirrel's anatomical design as it is in a human's? A resistor is a component used in electronic manufacturing. There are infinite variations of resistors, but all resistors can be expected to perform the same overall function, to resist electricity as or slow its flow as it passes through it. With this in mind, all squirrels may vary slightly in the number of hairs they possess or the shade of their coats, but all squirrels can be basically counted on to collect nuts. This factor of reliability found within nature and animals, does it serve a prime creator? A crowning day of achievement in perception is obtained when the fox, the squirrel, and all others are seen as components like a resistor in God's design, serving as a feedback mechanism back to the source. That is why the choice to look on all nature with compassion and respect is worthy of public study, promotion, and protection. We can never tell what a young person will draw from and learn while exploring a public park and contemplating the wildlife. The mission to love the person you are and the people you see is good. Virtue is sufficient for happiness. This and other truths bear evidence to themselves. We can add them into our banks, the banks of our faculty of evaluation. May they serve us and lead us to a higher calling. Number four, creation follows relaxation. A balanced system probably has ways of maintaining its balance. One of the main ingredients to relaxation is the human emotion of trust, and trusting that things are and will stay balanced. When someone trusts something, they can usually find peace. Since we know we are given the element of choice, we may be very wise to invest time into learning what is best to trust. It is likely that humans are designed to operate optimally under a one God system. The point hoped to be made is that when we start first with one unitary creator to trust, the force of love adds on to our stature. We are loved by the creator when we trust and choose to keep things simple. Secondarily, we can expect to trust an activated system between at least the mind and the heart. Out of the harmony will follow authentic signals based in love, which one may choose to use however they wish. Somewhere in between having love and patience to observe and to learn from everything around us and having a philanthropic mission, do you feel relaxed enough to create? If you ask yourself that question, then it is probable you are a person with a destiny for success. Congratulate yourself, for at this point, you are well on your way to becoming something worth saving. Can you imagine being God and giving humans the construct of choice? It was a way to create balance and diversity. If we trusted a loving inner design, one might come to believe that pure choice would lead to pure outcomes and reflections. So we relax and trust the first things first. Choices are sacred. A portion of this text already covered the significance of choice. A wise creator knew one time that to place all power in the hands of itself would lead to imbalance. The choice was sacred and added in after the building blocks, such as atoms of existence, were set. This was done in order to evolve the base layer and create diversity. Note the Bible and how it says God spent the majority of its time first creating the water, land, and the trees. Humans were then created with choice following soon after. God knew the design was good and at that point comfortable with adding an unknown factor into the mix, choice. Choice truly gives living creatures the power to determine their own lives and outcomes. A conscious observer may grow to appreciate nature and the choices apparently taking place, yes, even in the trees. We see on the next page a diagram Y shape, which is meant to represent a typical branch shape on a tree or a bush. Could it be that as a tree's water and nutrients travel up the tree, it chooses where to send the flow at the juncture circled on the next page? Let's see. Right here, the tree branch, the Y shape. So is there a choice there? Is there a choice of that Y shape? Yeah, maybe. So we begin to see ourselves as part of a highly integrated and intelligent system full of voting procedures, verifications, buffers, and choices. Yes, choices are sacred. As well, the author notes that if one is to be so bold as to say that something is sacred, it is recommended that one must feel it in their heart to be true. Next, a diagram to show the integration of choice and its place in creation as it supports life. This diagram will hopefully shed light onto an ancient symbol known as the yin yang. Feel free to contemplate this diagram and make sense of it as it relates to you. So, I'll show you the diagram. This is just sort of artwork for me. I'm not saying this is set in stone, but this is sort of just see God and choice. There's like that is like a yin yang. Like those two things together make a balanced system in some way. And then I think in some way you have like a mother and a father sort of system, and then you basically have that traditional yin yang, the male and female, and life is created, and the life supports the God, and God supports life. So I just sort of like artwork, philosophical artwork that I wrote there, and I think I think there might be some truth to it. But anyways, so that's the diagram there. And the true Holy Trinity is really God the Father and the Mother. Could be. So your targets determine your character. The word target could be interpreted as a goal, at least. What are we aiming at? Let the word target mean what it means to you in your heart and see what you think. It could be believed that out of our focused pursuit of a target will arise byproducts and resonations of our will and vibration. If I believe and build a life around the belief that happiness follows virtue, then it is safe to say it is easy to be happy. Just study how to be virtuous. A life that uses goals to navigate could use virtuous goals to become happy. Our habits and our goals will swim us toward our destination and reveal a reflection to the world of our inner character. Number 7, service to others is the best service to self. A great mindset to adopt is to learn from everything. Study nature and work to avoid the belief that you have learned enough and that there is no longer a need to explore and be curious. During this process, a book called The Raw Material became part of the author's studies. The book is filled with all sorts of esoteric knowledge and worthy of review. The one point which the author would like to make is how the raw in the book revealed that service to others is better than service to self, from Elkins in 1981. Helping others is better than helping me. The Ra, which was considered to be god of the Egyptian empire, the sun god, is also the ruler of the underworld. That is quite a pet to have. Remember, humans are meant to optimally operate under a one god system. If there are other sub gods such as Zeus, Cronus, Odin, Ra, etc., these were created by God for God. The Ra identified as what they call a social memory complex and channeled through humans to create the book, The Raw Material. Did they also use sound to create the hieroglyphics and Egyptian empire pyramids? Most likely. Acoustic frequencies have tremendous potential to alter matter, and the Raw understood this and many other things. If they were kind enough to come to us and give us notice that service to others is better than service to self, then we can consider ourselves lucky and hopefully ready to adopt a philanthropic mission as our major pursuit in life. Some things just feel good enough to believe in, and then you act in faith. The truth of your assumptions will leave evidence of itself. The universe treats you how you treat yourself. Let us dive right into a law which was uncovered through basic study and observation. It is called the law of reciprocation. This law means that by design, the universe and all of its components must reflect back to us energy similar to the energy we give ourselves. How can we take advantage of this law? One great idea is to be healthy, but more specifically, drink celery juice every morning. Celery juice and its magical, beautiful green color is like a magic potion. It is so healthy and filled with so much energy captured from the sun that when we choose to make this sacrifice and drink it, the world can't help but love us back all the day long. See for yourself and believe that there are simple ways to take advantage of these laws and designs of the universe. They are simple as well, not meant to be hidden away and kept secret. Wisdom and truth can be seen as a treasure. Let us relate to the movie Indiana Jones and how, when the main character came close to the treasure, many different traps revealed themselves, trying to obstruct the explorer from obtaining the treasure. In that sense, as we approach the wisdom of divinity, we will be tested. Essentially, the test is a defense mechanism against those who would wish to use this knowledge for their own benefit. It is wise to ponder the idea that if one became the most powerful person in the universe, that it would be a great step one to initiate and support a policy that simply gives everything back to the people. Those who obtain the truth but do not share freely are not optimal receivers and will still need some development. God does not waste anything and recycles a lot. So, in the case of someone discovering divine wisdom but not sharing it freely, it would lead to situations which check the person. There would be a check or strike against the person, warning them and hopefully guiding them to change their ways, share, and adopt a more philanthropic point of view. How we treat ourselves and others is intertwined, and it is best to simply commit to learn from and love everything with no exceptions. As you begin to add tasks to your daily success routine, such as exercise, wearing your seatbelt, and drinking celery juice, you will feel the universe conspire to lift you up and support your mission because you are now on a team and work together to support a worthy cause. Number nine, we don't see things as they are, we see things as we are. Perspective is a powerful construct. If we determine most everything we see to be built from three things, neutrons, protons, and electrons, we can ponder that perhaps things like choice and perspective are the magic elements which give the world its flavorful culture with personality and unique shape. The world is your sandbox to play in. The things that appear to us through the day are in fact attracted to us due to our vibration. The concept of resonation is at play everywhere. When we say things to ourselves like, I need to make more money, this will not bring us more money. It will bring us more needing. Needing will create more suffering, and to the right student, suffering will become a lesson and an opportunity for improvement. We see things as we are, not as they are. Perception is the key to empowerment and understanding. Do your best to develop yours. Number 10, appreciation is the closest thing to magic. When we drink something healthy, when we move our body for a purpose, and when we stretch our hands up to the sky and smile in the spirit of celebration for no reason, we are appreciating. In order to appreciate, you need to make a choice and exert a little effort. There is work being done when we choose to appreciate things, and that energy needs to convert to other things. Energy is typically converting to other forms. It is never truly lost. So when we contemplate the worlds of wizards and dragons and regard the magic they possess as something beyond our reach, let us first make the step toward appreciation. The magic happens when we combine positivity and appreciation with consistency and discipline for the purpose of supporting a philanthropic mission. If we develop appreciative attitudes and habits and really lean into them, over time we will manifest results of our efforts and it will feel like magic. Number 11, God is in the neutrons, protons, and electrons. There is so much information present within this text. Please do not attach yourself to an outcome or belief. As well, please revisit this text through your journey. You will get something new out of it every time. Just let the ideas flow and trust in simplicity. A loving father would leave behind things, lessons, and wisdom, and more importantly, these things would be simple. The simpler the things we leave behind are, then the more accessible they are. Divine truth and wisdom is meant to be accessible to the masses, and therefore it is simple. At this point, the author would like to reference an experiment performed in the later 1980s by Rene Pioch. Now, this experiment may not prove to you that God exists, but to the author and hopefully to some other readers, this is significant scientific evidence that God exists. Yes, God is not a religion, but more like a science. Catholicism, that is a religion. God is like water and science, but so much more. It is a foundation upon which all is built and sustained. The experiment goes like this: there was a control and an experiment. There were two rooms, both dark. In both rooms, there was a robot which calculated random directions continually and moved about the room. Also, in each room, there were baby chicks. Each robot had a light attached to the top of it so that the chicks could see the robot in the dark. The difference between the two rooms was this: in one room, the chicks could see the light and the robot. In the other room, the control room, the chicks could not see the robot with the light because there was a division. The interesting phenomenon revealed by this experiment is that when the chicks could see the robot, it was proven that they actually affected the movement of the robot. Where the chicks could not see the robot truly moved all about in a random fashion. Please check the diagram on this page, which illustrates these findings. So here it is. See the robot on the bottom. The chicks could see the robot on the bottom. The path is on the bottom in room B. So where the chicks could see the robot, the random robot moved closer to the chicks. And then on the top one, that was the control. It was truly random. So is there a difference between the neutrons and the protons and the electrons in a biological entity as a chicken and a robot and something that's electronics and like manufactured in China or the USA or wherever? You know, no, apparently there isn't a difference. There's a connection between your digital clock and a chicken. There's a connection. They're alive. They're both alive. So that's what really is interesting to me. That's why I wanted to include it in the book here. So the B room is where the chicks could see the robot, and the A room was the control room where there was no visibility allowed to the chicks. The two different paths of the robot are clearly marked by the squiggly lines. Isn't it amazing to see the consolidated path from room B? Now the finalized results were inconclusive, and Pioch determined there to be some possible psychokinetic force at play. However, this experiment used many different bodies of knowledge combined together to work and support evidence of a loving creator geared toward unification. Are the neutrons, protons, and electrons in the baby chicks different from those in the robot? Perhaps not at all. Perhaps God is within the neutrons, protons, and electrons and is constantly working to be evidence of itself, love, and family. Oh, yeah. So, number 12, powerful things begin with love. As we previously covered, love evolves love. Love is an emotional, energetic state with significant tendency to associate with intelligence. As it is stated in the Bible book, love your enemies. The deadliest warriors are never angry. Anger is sporadic and unpredictable. Picture yourself as a warrior entering battle or a soldier about to break into a building and destroy the bad guys. These warriors are trained to feel love for their enemies up until and through the point of pulling the trigger. Because it produces a higher level of intelligence, we should want to use and learn from everything. And how do we access everything? We do it by resonating with love and being recognized by the system we live in as worthy of receiving help. If we portray ourselves as angry or impatient, the universe will recognize this and let us suffer in order to teach us a lesson so we can improve and learn to love this teaching universe. If we choose to resonate with love, unconditional love, we become useful to God. And in this, we get to feel loved by the universe. This is an amazing feeling worthy of lifelong pursuit. Number 13, when we force things, we are sent lessons. When we relax into things, we are sent blessings. The author suggests in the previous section that when we express lower level emotions like anger, the universe responds by sending us suffering, which is meant to be a lesson. Remember, the Creator uses everything to its advantage. Would it be optimal for us to not express anger and simply trust and love? Sure. But if we need to make some mistakes in order to improve, that is okay. Nature never acts in haste. We are all moving toward improvement one way or another. Remember, in the realm of heart oriented thinking, it is okay to be temporarily inefficient and make some mistakes. Productivity and material gain are not the priority. Learning and loving is the priority. So when we identify a thought construct that is rooted in anger or fear, or when we make a mistake, don't waste it. Convert it, transmute it, and then delete it. Turn it into a lesson to be used for your evolution, and then the pain has no need of repeating itself. If we don't learn from these happenings, the lessons and pains repeat. By forcing things, we are acting in a way that is usually enforcing the belief that service to ourselves is better than service to others, and definitely not trusting. However, when we relax into things, we are trusting. Relaxing is an excellent energetic vibration that welcomes universal intelligence. So, to come up with good ideas, should we directly pursue the how and wonder what needs to be done in order to obtain this wisdom? Or do we simply relax and trust and be good observers? In order to be our best, do we take good notes and make goal lists with an overall philanthropic mission to share and improve the world? Your choice. Number 14, participation toward God's creation is favored much more than isolationism and protectionism. At this point in the text, hopefully the reader is beginning to develop an appreciation for the natural world in ways that did not exist before reading. We should really try to have fun when doing many things in life. Life should be fun. There is a fun story relating to the author's life that will be shared at this time. The author grew up with a unique earthly father. This man had grown up in his 20s and 30s as a plumber in the area of Havertown, Pennsylvania. This is considered to be a somewhat densely populated area filled with hustle and bustle. At a certain point in life, this man, Ray, needed to make a life decision. He had enough of the traffic lights and the people, and he wanted to move into the country to get away from the activity. This was an important life choice that was made, and it had profound effects on the outcome of his marriage life and career development. He, in fact, did move away with the spirit of needing to get away from the people. As the author grew up, he witnessed his father continually label other people as stupid. The father also believed in a great disaster heading toward the people of the world. Ray the father built a house in the woods on a mountain, and indeed got away from all the people, and as well began preparing to save his body in case a natural world disaster struck. As time went on, he grew discontent and his marriage fell apart. What was the unspoken message when Ray chose to move away from the city with a spirit of negativity? It was that he doesn't believe in all the beauty surrounding him. He wasn't truly committed to learning from and loving everything. Eventually, things fell apart, and he wound up living out the rest of his days alone, building structures to secure his materials. His property is a manifestation of the psychological scars of his past, filled with the clutter and things that someday could be used for something. The alternative approach is to lean into God's creation, move into or stay in a neighborhood or area that has a lot of people around. Why? Simple. There are more opportunities to learn. If you commit to lifelong pursuit of learning, you become useful to the Creator, and that is a very good thing. We should regard ourselves as a catalyst for goodness. Catalysts perform their function just by being present. Move into the dark areas and be a force for light. This is the way to be, and it sends out a vibration of competence and leadership. The author is thankful for the lesson his father taught him, and luckily was born with a tendency to learn from everything. During the challenging years of that time, the author regarded all the happenings and sufferings obtained by this father as an anomaly. The author chose to see this negative circumstance as a unique opportunity to learn. The author thought there is no way that having a father like this is the norm of the world. This must be something meant to teach me a lesson. Now, here in this section, we covered the lesson learned, and moving into the future, one can hopefully be excited to get around people and rub elbows with the common man. Number 15, the sacred language of music. Music is a beautiful thing designed by musicians who have a passion for creating art with sound. The assumption made in this section is that much of the best music was given to the musicians by the creator. Music is a language and one way for the creator to communicate to people and its creation. Have you seen the movie Transformers? And are you familiar with the yellow robot called Bumblebee? You probably are, but in case you aren't, Bumblebee is a robot that can transform into a car and then back into a large robot with a humanoid type shape. The Bumblebee robot cannot talk with vocal cords, but it has access to the car radio still present in its design after transforming. In the movie, the Bumblebee robot changes in and out to different radio stations where the person on the station just so happens to be speaking or singing exactly what the Bumblebee robot wants to say. If God is in the neutrons, protons, and electrons, then God is in the electronics and car radios. The author suggests that you begin listening to music as if it was a message from God to you. If you hear a song at a time when you are looking for guidance and the song relates to your situation, wouldn't it be easy to entertain the idea that God designed the song and can influence those to play it at certain times and can influence you to tune in at the right times in order for you to feel loved? Perhaps this is the case. It is a fun way to see existence in this life where everything is designed to be used for God's mission, even the music. Number 16, if you love something, you are consistent. The opposite of love is evil, and evil is not consistent. Evil was designed on purpose by the Creator to be folded into a grand design and used as raw material like cement. The only thing worse than pure evil is organized evil. Pure evil was designed by God for a purpose. Organized evil is when humans take pure evil and build things out of it, organize it. Evil was created with inherent design flaws on purpose. Evil does not care for its offspring. Evil thinks fear is a sufficient motivating force to get what it wants. Once someone knows the weakness of the spirit, it is easy to overcome. Like God, who knows the design and purpose of this evil, it is easy to not cook with the emotion of fear. This is why the author suggests to simply delete any thought constructs rooted in the emotion of fear or anger. If you intend to evolve into a successful person and advance to the next stages, you have to change the way you build and what you build with. If you love something, you will do what is necessary to take care of it. If you do not sacrifice for what you want, then what you want becomes the sacrifice. So we sacrifice our time and our energy for things that we love, like the concept of enriching the youth. A wise civilization will automatically enforce policies which are conducive to youth enrichment. When raising a child, it is important to be consistent. Most parents would agree with this. Your consistency serves as an indication of confidence to the child. Consistency creates patterns, and patterns can be used to learn from. If you love something, you will always leave behind lessons and things to learn from and use the emotion of consistency to fill your sails with virtuous wind. Number 17, nature is designed to convert weakness into growth. This is the last one here. Okay. So, God doesn't look at our mistakes and say, what a waste that was. No, everything always gets converted into something useful to something else. Picture a rose bush with thorns. The thorns are there. What are they used for? Consider this. You're walking in the woods and severely malnourished. You have been lost for days and are running out of food and water. You somehow manage to get tangled up in the bush of thorns, bleed everywhere, and eventually just die right there in the bush. What happens to your blood and body? It becomes fertilizer for the plant. It becomes useful to something else. Now, maybe the reason you were wandering around in the woods in the first place was because someone told you there was a buried treasure chest filled with gold. You were so hasty to acquire this gold, and you had no idea of what you would even use it for. You dreamed of a life of security and leisure that the abundance of gold would provide. This was not an enlightened state of being, it was a vibration of I need. Then you find yourself stuck in a thorn bush, needing something else, freedom. Eventually, or unfortunately for you, this was a final straw, and you have been exhibiting patterns and refusing to learn for some time now. As a last resort, God chose to turn your choice into fertilizer for the earth. You were still useful to the design, but could you have been more useful? Of course. There are many other examples of this where nature exploits weaknesses and weak links in the chain in order to improve itself. What about a flower? A flower has no thorns or apparent defense mechanisms. However, can a flower be appreciated? Yes, it can. Can a flower be not appreciated? Yes, it can. Is this data sent back to the creator and used to calculate the optimal route forward for your self development, your perception, your choice, your world? You are now a mechanic of perception. Please go freely, enjoying your time and each beautiful breath you take. And that's the end of book 2. And there's a picture of a squirrel that I took. That's cool. I like that picture of the squirrel. And the book 3 is book 3. And book 3 will be in the future.